Hey there! Are you looking for simple, affordable ways to bring in more local customers to your door? Now, utilizing the right local SEO strategies, that's search engine optimization strategies, can help you achieve this goal. And in today's digital marketing episodes, I'm going to explain 5 simple and proven strategies that will help you take your business's visibility in your local community to the next level. And I've been doing this since 2009, and I've got some great strategies that really work almost every time. But before I get into today's topic, my name is Liz Garcia. I'm your happy, insightful, and perceptive host of AthenaArenaRadio.com. I've been a content marketing and personal branding strategist and teacher, SEO expert, and WordPress website designer since 2009. Welcome to episode 19 of the Athena Arena podcast, the content and digital marketing strategy academy for aspiring 6, 7, and 8-figure, what I call, Wonder Woman brands, and mastering your inner game. And for all you brilliant men out there, don't be fooled by the whole Wonder Woman thing. This is meant for you too. So let's get to today's topic, local SEO, which is also known as search engine optimization and getting found on Google searches. How do you do that? In my first years as an SEO WordPress website designer, I understood the power and ease of getting you found on page number 1 of local Google searches. Now that was over 10 years ago, so things have changed considerably since then, and business owners have become much more search savvy. And I can see this when I look at search results. I can tell that small business owners know what they're doing now, or they get help to do it. But without professional or informed search engine optimization done on your website, this is a great starter kit to get you off the ground, meaning optimizing your website or some listing pages for local search is a great starter kit to get you off the ground. So I know many of you have businesses that can serve people beyond your local communities and even worldwide. Still, in the absence of a significant budget for developing a search marketing strategy, you're going to have a challenging time getting found on a more national or worldwide audience. So remember, there are only 10 organic search positions on page number 1 of a Google search. And typically on that page, you're going to see 3 or 4 paid ads right at the top. Now, they seem to be adding even more, which is kind of crazy, but true. I'm seeing sometimes anywhere from 4 to 6 paid ads at the top of a search. And then you're going to see 10 organic search results below that, and then more paid ads at the bottom, sometimes on the sides. You know what a Google search page looks like. So sometimes you're also going to see images and videos in those search results. And that's a whole other topic, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit here. Now, if you're doing a local search like a phrase like plumber near me, as an example, you're likely going to see listings and a map of local plumbers near you. So just pay attention to this. This is what we're going to focus on today on these 5 proven steps to get found in local search. You know that those maps show up pretty predominantly in those searches. Now, some people pay to get on the top of the map listing. There's a strategy for that, which we're not getting into today. But if you're in a highly competitive market, you're going to have to look at paying for position on the map. But as long as no one's paying for it and you're showing up, there's no need to do that. So regardless of your business, getting found on local Google searches makes sense, as the cost per acquisition can be much less expensive than competing on a larger scale. Just so you know, this has been in my experience, and I can see this, and there's ways to go about it for free, organically. And by the way, Organic search gets far higher click-through rates than those paid ads, like huge amount, especially positions 1 through 3. Once you drop down from 4 to 10, it drops off significantly. And then anything beyond page 1 is kind of a waste of time. Now, the exception to what I'm sharing with you today is if you live in a large city like LA, New York, Chicago. In that case, you will likely need a paid Google Ads strategy to get found. You have to pay to get found and get positioning on the map or on local Google searches of different phrases, which is still a great, more affordable strategy than trying to get found on a national basis. So please note that data analytics show that 5% or less of Google searches ever go beyond page 1 of a Google search. So the competition can be stiff depending on your business and industry. So let's start with my 5 simple and proven local SEO, that's search engine optimization strategies for business owners. And the first one, which you've probably heard about it before, but I'm going to teach you how to do it more effectively, is to set up or claim your listing on Google. And you're going to want to, first of all, you're going to want to Google your business and see if it's already showing up. And if it is, you're going to want to claim it. And Google will take you through some form of verification process that may involve a postcard to verify that you own a local business, because they want to mail it to you to make sure that it's really you. So that could be the first step. And when you search for your business, be very specific. Like I would search the name of your business, the town it's in, and your name if you know your name might be included. So that'll really narrow it down just to see if you can find it on page 1 at all with a lot of details in that Google search. Really be highly detailed about it so that the name of your business alone should be detailed enough along with the town that you're in and your name. So if you do that, and you don't see a listing that you can claim, then you're going to want to set up your own Google business profile page. Now, for a while, it was called a Google Maps profile or Google My Business, but now it's called a Google profile page. Google Business Profile Page. That's what it's called now. So you're going to Google like how to set up a Google business profile page, and then you're going to have to create an account to do that, which is free. So when people search for local businesses, Google puts your business name, your address, your phone number, map, and website near the top of the search results, which you've probably already seen. And if you're not sure about this, just Google a local search term for like a plumber. Common services that people would need local services for. Electricians, plumbers, dentists, whatever. Google like dentist near me, plumber near me, or plumber in the town that you live in, town and state. You could do that too. And just see what shows up. So you can see what I'm talking about when I say you want to get in that map listing, because that's highly visible and high on the page when you go to do searches right now. So when you do this, it allows customers to find and contact you easily. And it's also essential to ensure you provide accurate information and update your listings regularly to ensure customers always find correct details and results. So you're going to want to pay attention to this Google Business Profile page and stay on top of it, because it's highly likely going to show up on a local search before your own website, unless your own website is highly optimized for search, which typically you would hire someone like me or an SEO, SEM agency to help you do that. But in the absence of that, you're going to want to really pay attention to that Google Business Profile, because it gets top billing on Google searches. You know, Google owns it. They're helping you out. And be aware that, I forget what the percentage is, but it's a pretty high percentage of local searches happen on phones. You know, people are out and about. They're like, oh, can I get a table at a restaurant? Oh, I need to go to the dentist. You know, it's on the fly type of thing. So you want to make sure that you show up in those local Google searches on your business profile page. It's much more likely to get found than your own website, unless you have someone like me optimize your website. And typically I can get found right alongside those Google listings for my local customers that do business locally. Okay, that's number one. Create that Google business profile page. Number two is you're going to optimize your listing on your Google profile page, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. And it's one of the simplest yet most effective local SEO strategies is to optimize this page in the way I'm going to teach you today. And as an SEO strategist since 2009, that's search engine optimization strategist, I've really been doing it since 1999. I was out there in the wild west of the internet when I first realized the significance of trying to get your business found on the internet. You know, I started back then when I had a home furnishing store in the Back Bay of Boston. And I was quite successful at getting found when I realized, oh, I got to learn SEO and how to do it. And I learned that way back when. So here's what you're going to want to do. These are some expert tips I want to share with you about optimizing your Google profile page that I've implemented for clients when I first started my web agency back in 2009. So first of all, you're going to want to fill out every available form field. You're going to pack that puppy with compelling information tailored to your ideal customer. Now, when you're putting information in that field, speak to your audience. Don't, just spit out a resume. You don't want to do that. You want to speak to your audience, call them out, call out their pain points, and provide, content, rich written content that speaks to them. This is your marketing. This is the marketing opportunity you have, is to really call out that ideal customer and speak to them. And my number one thing that I spoke about right at the beginning of this podcast is you've got to understand how significant keyword research is, and understanding what keyword phrases people are using to find a business like yours, as well as not only find the business like yours, but find the solutions or the result. What are the problems that you solve? Not only do you want to say you're a plumber, but you want to tell them what kind of problems you can solve and call them out. And when you do keyword research, you're going to find out, all right, what's the biggest problem people are seeking? And a great example to this is if you're kind of a holistic or alternative health professional. You can say that you're an Ayurvedic practitioner or a naturopath or all of that. For sure, you're going to use those words. But if you do keyword research like I have done for people like this, like top problems people are looking to solutions for are like lower back pain, gut problems, huge amounts of volume, and these significant physical problems people are having that want more naturopathic and alternative solutions to. So this is just an example. Not only are you going to use the word naturopath or naturopathic practitioner or all kinds of iterations of that word, you also want to call out, do you have lower back pain? Are you experiencing gut problems? Whatever those top conditions are that you help people with, you for sure are going to want to include them in the description on your profile page. And we're going to go into a little more detail about this in a second. So you've got to know what those keywords phrases are. And if you go back to my episode on keyword marketing research, I would recommend you listen to that again. And I'll provide a link to that below. And you're going to need to use, you can find tons of free keyword research tools online. And I always use something called semrush.com. And I currently use ubersuggest.com because I love Neil Patel and I love the user interface of his tool, and he's friggin' brilliant, and it's got everything you could ever want for marketing your business online. It's fantastic. Give you tons of ideas. So will SEMrush, but SEMrush is kind of more sophisticated, maybe not that Ubersuggest isn't, but it's a little more professionally minded for people that are in the industry. So it may be a little more complex than you had hoped, but they're both good. So, like I just said, I don't want you just to find the obvious keywords that you would use for your business, like plumber if you're a plumber, life coach, hairstylist. For sure, you're going to use those words, but I want you to find what other combinations of those words, as an example, people are using, right? A hairstylist could also be a beauty stylist. A life coach, it could be what kind of life coach, health coach, wellness coach. There's all kinds of iterations that you're going to want to use if they're relevant to your business. And then I'm going to want you to find high search volume keyword phrases for the solutions you provide. Like for a plumber, there could be a high search volume thing that says emergency pipe repair or clog removal. You don't know until you do the research. And if there is, then you for sure want to use that word, or whatever specialty it is you do in the world of plumbing that you do a lot, you're going to want to call it out with those words and make sure people know that's what you're good at. Come and get me. And if you're a life coach, a solution to one, there's life coaches for everything under the sun. One could be build confidence at work, as an example, or get along with your coworkers. There's so many iterations of problems people want solutions to. You really got to do the keyword research based on your expertise and see what pops up. And likely you're going to find stuff that you can do really well, but you had no idea that people were looking for it at a high volume versus what maybe you're doing now. So this is just the benefit of keyword research. Again, go back and listen to that episode, because this is really necessary for success in your local Google search strategies that I'm sharing today. So, once you've done some keyword research, and you don't have to spend a lot of time, you could spend half a day doing this and get tons of great ideas, and then kind of decide, what do I want to use based on search volume? What are people looking for? That kind of thing. And then I want you to pepper those keyword phrases naturally throughout the written content where they make sense in that Google profile page. You can have form fields where you can write content. Use up all the text that you can, because they give you a fair amount of characters that you can put in those things. So I want you to use them to your advantage by peppering in these keyword phrases that are relevant to what you do. Now, you don't want to force it. And instead of using the same keyword multiple times, I want you to do your best to find synonyms that are or closely related terms to some of the keyword phrases, especially in regards to the results that you provide. There could be other ways to say things, and you'll still get great results because Google recognizes that the topics are similar, they're related, and they're meaningful. So you don't want to spam, which means stuff keywords into your Google business profile at all. You want to write content that is written for humans. It's organic, it's genuine, it makes sense. So don't worry about stuff in that thing with keyword phrases. Just do what is natural. Just be aware that if you only have a certain amount of copy that you can write, a certain amount of paragraphs of words, choose those wisely. Make sure you're using the ones that have the lowest hanging fruit and the greatest opportunity to get you found locally. And my strategy is you want to go with the highest search volume because the long tail is like a plumber, is that they're going to tag on where you live, and then the field for plumbers in your particular town gets really smaller too. So there's a strategy. There is good strategy to going with those high search volume keyword phrases in a directory listing, because directory listings and your Google business profile page is meant to be found locally. Okay, so that was number one, was, claim your listing if it's already there, and then you're going to update it with all the content I'm suggesting. And then number two was to optimize that listing page with all of this good stuff I'm sharing with you today. Make sure you jam-pack that thing with good content and everything that they allow. So, and you can upload images and videos and all kinds of good stuff there. So, pictures of the exterior of your office or building, if that's, relevant, or whatever you want to do. There's tons of room to add images, and that's the next tip. So, proven strategy number 3 is to use images in your Google profile and on your website with detailed titles, alt tags, and descriptions. And this is a great trick that's worked like a charm for years for me. So let me just tell you what this means. So what you're going to do is you're going to create compelling images that have text overlays on them. And you can create images like this in Canva for free. That's canva.com. You can use that for free. Or you can hire a graphic designer to help you. And it's super simple. It's not going to get complicated. What you're going to do is you're going to, first of all, create a search strategy around those images. And let's take my business as an example. I'm an SEO, WordPress website designer, content strategist, personal branding strategist, search engine SEO expert, that type of thing, social media marketing, all that. So I have a lot of categories that I can create images around. And I'm going to do keyword research around those top search volume phrases. So if I'm going to do an image around WordPress website design, I found an image that calls that out. People can see, the image speaks 1,000 words. Make sure it's speaking what you're offering. And then I create a title over that image that says something like, look professional and get found on local Google search, right? And this is in an effort to get business clients that want to maybe redesign their website or optimize it for local search or do whatever it is that they want to do. So I'm going to overlay some text on an image that calls out the problem or calls out the solution or calls out what people are looking for. I want a professional looking website that gets found. So that could be the title overlaying the image as an example. And then what I would do is I'm going to name, when I create the image, I'm going to title that image with the keyword phrase. So I'd use the title that has the keyword phrase in it. So I'd make sure the title said SEO WordPress website design. That would be my keyword phrase in the title of that image. And then I'd upload it and make sure that when I upload it, there could be form fields. And I know in WordPress, when you upload an image in WordPress, there are form fields called alt tag, caption, and descriptions, and title. There's 4 form fields. So the title doesn't typically get read by the search engines. The alt tags do and the descriptions do. So, so here's just one example. I'm creating an image for SEO website design, and when I upload it to my business profile, my Google business profile, or my website, if there's a form, a field that says alt tag, I'm going to make sure that SEO WordPress website design is in there, but I'm also going to make sure that SEO WordPress website design in Aspen, Colorado is in there. This is the local strategy with images. I want you to create an image, and what I'd do possibly, it's not really that much work, is I'd find a different image for the same search term, but then I'd say SEO website design, Carbondale, Colorado. So these are the communities around me. because when you do search, those images can pop up. And if you get highly detailed in the description, the alt tag, and the title of that image, you can get, I typically can get found like in position number 1 in images. So this is like a killer strategy to employ for your Google business profile as well as your website. So I'm not going to go too much into the website stuff right now. I want to stick with the Google business profile. So what's going to happen? There's going to be 4 fields, form fields that you can fill out when you upload. First of all, you create the image, you save it as your title of the image that has your keyword phrase in it and the location for this particular image you want to target. So I like to suggest the town that you're in, and then 4 to 5 communities that surround you if it makes sense that people would work with you. And if they don't, like me, I don't need to have people work near me, but for the local search strategy, you're going to keep it within a region that makes sense. So I would do probably 6 different images. All the images will be different, a little bit different title, but still the keyword phrase would be in it, slightly different title. And then the description of it, I'd go into more detail so I could really speak about, what I do, how I help you, what results people have. You can do a fairly comprehensive description of that image using your keyword phrases and speaking to your ideal clients. And then the alt tag is, when you're on a website and you mouse over an image, the alt tag is the text that pops up on the mouse over. So it's telling you what the image is about. So you want to make sure that alt tag has your keyword phrase along with what town you're serving, right? Just serve one town in each image and then write your description. So I do this when I create websites. I'm very diligent about using all those form fields because I know people can get found on local searches or searches in general in the images area of a Google search. So let's talk about, so the strategy there is to create an image for each keyword phrase you want to target, and then for each keyword phrase and town you want to target. And you can do a ton of images if you want. You can just go to town. Why not? It's free. Upload as many images as you want in that Google business profile, and use text overlays that speak to your audience so you can get more. The picture speaks 1,000 words, but you're going to get their attention when you have a title. And an example of this to look at is go to YouTube. And you see those videos that come up in small, on the side, you can see people use very bold titles, short and sweet, but bold, so that they can be read. You want to use that same strategy because people are finding you on mobile phones and desktop and iPads and laptops all over the place. So you can't put a lot of words in there, but really speak to them with the keyword phrase and a call out like, hey, I'm talking to you. Are you tired of your website looking like a do-it-yourselfer? Let me help you. Something like that. How are you going to speak to your audience? And those title overlays of those images. Okay. So that's tip number 3 is using images, right? Fill in it's called metadata of an image. And if you have a WordPress website, you know that all that metadata is available for you to fill in when you upload an image. And I always do it. And typically, people will name their images for a website very generally. They might say like homepage web design as an example. And you can leave the title that way, but that alt tag needs to be much more specific. And then the description of the image needs to be, you could write 3 to 4 sentences about it if you want. Why not? Because search engines are going to read it and see that it's highly related to a search. So it's likely going to show up on the top of an image search. And if you're familiar with Google, you go to Google and you Google something at the very top, you'll see that you can Google images, videos, or just overall. So there's different types of searches you can do. And I'm just going to look at it real quick and it's a little hard to see, but let me just look up internet. Okay. So at the very top under the search bar on Google, there's an option to search for all types of content. There's an option to search for news, shopping, videos, books, images, and more. So there's all kinds of stuff there. And Google will deliver whatever people are responding to. So if it's images, they'll deliver that. If it's videos, they'll deliver that. So I recommend using this for images. This is your number 3 proven effective tips for local search, is using images to your advantage in search, because most people don't know that and wouldn't do it. Okay, number 4 is get listed in the relevant high-quality business directories and review sites. So as a small or medium-sized business, it's vital that you make yourself identifiable to potential customers and the search engines. And getting listed in directories and review sites is the best way to ensure your business appears when consumers search locally. And searching for directories and reviews specific to your industry is key, as this is going to help you differentiate you from the local competition while creating more opportunities to gain visibility on authoritative sources and directory sites. Additionally, it's going to ensure that all of your listings are up to date on all platforms and that your Google business profile is included. This ensures potential customers can find the most accurate information about your business when conducting local searches. Now, this is where I really hit a home run back when I implemented local Google search strategies for my local customers. More than 10 years ago, when I first started, 2009, those first 5 years, I did a lot of this because I was just starting out and I wanted to make sure we had success in my launching new websites and getting my customers found. And I had this one particular story about my customer who owned a mattress store locally. And when I did search for him and I understood the power of directories and how someone like me, who's a search engine optimization expert, can dominate page 1 of local Google searches with directory and business listings in relevant directories. I mean, it was almost embarrassing. Back then, my customer dominated anywhere from 8 to 10 slots on page 1 of a Google search because I had all those. Not only did his website show up at the top, that showed up first, but listings in Yelp and other types of directories, Google Maps, back then, all showed up. So it was like, holy crow, there's no missing this guy in our valley where we live. So, but the only reason I dominated that is because I implemented these strategies that I'm telling you today. I understood the keyword phrases that I knew his business because I did all the research. I'm like, all right, I know what people are looking for and I know how to help you. So you got to know this and you got to understand how to format content and write it for search purposes, right? So you can put all your stuff into directories, but if you make a simple listing and don't follow what I'm suggesting today, you're going to get, no results because there's tons of competition these days. You've got to be more savvy when it comes to creating a listing or a business page in a directory. Especially niche directories are really what really matters, and I want you to pay attention to this. So, some general directory websites are places like Yelp. Yelp dominates local Google searches, in case you haven't noticed, along with one of those other, I'm trying to think of those other sites for hotels and motels, any type of local restaurant, hotel, motel services. I think there's 3 web directories that dominate that when you go to a local search. And then if you're looking for something like other directories that are highly niche, would be something like Angie's List, which is created for general contractor types, plumbers, electricians, any type of handyman, tons of stuff. I don't think they limit it anymore. You can put many types of businesses there, but I would look at it closely and see what it is that people are looking for. Same with Houzz, Houzz. That's intended for general contractors, but more design-oriented, like interior designers, interior decorators, architects, general contractors, and then people that supply, like furniture stores, appliance stores, tile stores, that type of thing. So Houzz is a great directory for that type of business. And then finally, Psychology Today is a very excellent directory if you're in the mental health business. And I forget what they charge. It might be $30 a month, but you know what? People get found on page 1 of Google searches, on local Google searches through Psychology Today. And I noticed that if I Google that type of, a local psychiatrist or psychotherapist or whatever, listings show up in Psychology Today on page 1 of Google searches before many individual websites. Although, websites that are optimized for that, for local search, can come up before those Google search, those Psychology Today searches as well. So these are some great examples of directories where you can submit your listing and build optimized pages for your business. Now, what I'm suggesting is you've got to follow the strategy I told you for your Google business profile as well. Otherwise, you're not going to get the same results. You really got to learn how to optimize that page following the steps I've shared with you. Now, and the reason these directories are so powerful, there's reasons that they show up on page 1 of searches. First of all, they're built on search-driven, SEO-driven best practices and protocol. So the engine behind it is optimized for search purposes. There's a particular software that manages how these things are handled, and they're optimized for search. Plus, they have thousands, if not millions, of backlinks to the site, which is a significant aspect to Google search results. And backlinks are when, let's say, you have a listing on Psychology Today, you're going to want to link from your website, somewhere in your website, and there's a strategy to this as well, which we're not going into today. You're going to want to link from somewhere in your website to your listing page in Psychology Today. That's called a backlink. And now you have all of these members in Psychology Today and Houzz and Angie's List linking back to the main directory website and your own listing page. And this is how it starts to build tons of what's called domain authority. And like an example for Psychology Today is members of Psychology Today write expert blog posts that are highly relevant to the audience there, and that adds to their domain authority. When you have thousands of experts contributing to content on a directory website like that, it becomes huge. You can't compete with that because domain authority is anywhere from 0 to 100, and it's a challenge to get above 50 as an individual, that's for sure, unless you write tons of content and provide tons of, and people follow you and share you on social media, that type of thing. But domain authority for like Psychology Today are in the 90s, just as an example, so you understand this, what you're competing against. Which is not to say you can't be found on page 1 of a Google search with your website, but you need someone like me who knows how to do it. And I'm successful at doing that, but it's getting more difficult by the day. If I were to help you, I would do the research and I'd say, you know what, it's going to be tough to get you because you're behind the 8 ball. People that have been on the web, have been getting found for years, are way ahead of you in regards to search, and there's ways to go about it, but just know that it's not that necessarily that easy. Depends on where you live and how much competition you have. So I can typically suss that out by doing some research and letting you know, okay, this is what we can do. I have a strategy that typically works, but it takes time to do it. So anyway, back to directories and why they're so freaking powerful, and while I recommend you, this is going to be your next step, right? Especially if you don't have a budget to optimize your own website or to run paid ads to get found, you're going to want to use this strategy to get you found in directories because they have way more power to get you found than your own website. Okay. So, do a little research. Try to find niche directories that you can submit your listing to, and then use my strategy. And also, if you're gonna submit this type of content to other directories, you're gonna want to mix the content up a little. Do not duplicate it, because Google's just gonna say, you know what, this is duplicate content. I'm only gonna show one of these results, because they don't want to clog up the page with the same results anymore. This has changed. So you've got to create new kind of fresh content that maybe focuses a little bit heavier on a different side of your business on a different directory. That's a strategy I'd recommend so that you can show up in multiple positions on page one of a local Google search, just as an example. Okay, now I got to tell you, I can't promise success in this at all because I'm not the boss of Google, and Google is constantly changing its algorithms up, deciding what factors hold more weight than others, things like that. Now, just so you know, I understood the power of niche directories many years ago, as I just shared in that example of the mattress retailer I helped. And at the time, and I still help solopreneurs that are I have a lot of people in the mind, body, spirit, health space. And as an SEO expert, I decided to create an online directory for these types, because these types are typically solopreneurs. They're not marketing or web savvy at all. So I'm like, you know what? A solution is to create a search-driven directory just for these types. So I mentioned my other website in other podcasts, I think. It's called the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com. It has a lot going on, but one aspect of that is a directory for business owners like life coaches, wellness coaches, acupuncturists, Ayurvedic practitioners, Akashic records experts. I mean, really unusual types of professionals, but they need representation somewhere. And in a network that's kind of related, like it's transformational, alternative, holistic type of solutions that people are looking for. And how do you optimize so these people can get found? So this is why I created that directory. And I'll leave you, there's a link to the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com if you are interested in submitting you want to use this strategy because it's a highly niche directory that I'm offering here. You could submit your business listing page there as well. But again, you're going to have to follow my strategies to optimize that listing page to get found. You can't just go willy-nilly fill out the page, which most people do. And you got to follow some strategies for that to work for you, regardless of whatever directory you're in. So just a little plug here. If you do become a member of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, once you submit your listing, you're going to receive some emails, mini training series. They're going to help you optimize your listing for directory purposes and local Google searches. Which is not to say you won't get found nationally, because we have a lot of international traffic coming through that directory. But the promise is to make sure you get found on local Google searches. And again, I can't promise that, but I do my best to help you succeed with proven strategies that have worked for me since 2009. Now, We're on to proven local strategy number 5 is to include location pages on your website. So what I'm suggesting is you create dedicated pages for each of your business's locations, if you have more than one, or if you serve more than just your town that you are in. It's a great way to localize your website and appear in more search engine results. So I like to advise my people that are on the directory. There's a form field that says, okay, I want to know the top 5 communities that you serve. So that would be the town you're in and 3 to 4 communities that surround you, if it makes sense, and people would have to, if they have to come to you physically, does that make sense? But even if it doesn't, many people want to deal with local vendors, whether you need to be in person or not. So I want you to consider and include the towns that surround you where you could find more local customers. So what I'm suggesting is you could create what's called a landing page specific to, in my example, SEO WordPress website design. I could create a landing page specific to people in Aspen, Colorado, as an example. Just a landing page for that. And then I could do another one specific to people in Glenwood Springs, which is like 30 miles away. And this is how, which I think is overkill, but not necessarily. But for someone, if you're doing this yourself, there's a much easier solution that I'm going to share with you today. So, but back to the landing page, if you create specific landing pages based on one primary keyword phrase and then supporting phrases and then one location, you can also include other relevant information like addresses, driving directions, and hours. Be really customer service focused. Give them everything they need to know so that they feel like they're dealing with a local company. Okay. So from my experience, that's a lot of work. And I wouldn't recommend, unless you had a ton of money to burn, you can do it. But I wouldn't recommend it because there's a much easier way. So here's my tip on how to do this. And I work in WordPress website design, but most website design platforms do the same thing. So what I do is I create one piece of content. It's called like a content block, which I've seen in other platforms. In WordPress, for sure, you can create a content block, especially if you have some sort of theme. I use Avada themes for many of my websites, and I can create a piece of content and I can share and save it as a template. So what I do is I create what's called like a footer piece of content. It goes at the bottom of all my pages and blog posts. And the footer is quite simple. It's just a paragraph. And depending on the page or the post that I'm putting the footer on, I'll say the name of the website is theathenaarena.com. That's the name of the company. I'll say something as simple as this. Theathenaarena.com provides SEO, WordPress website design, and content marketing strategies for businesses in Aspen, Colorado, and the surrounding communities of Snowmass, Basalt, Carbondale, and Glenwood Springs, Colorado. That's it. And just having the names of those towns alone on a page, search engines are going to pick up on them. Like, you don't need to create a page. You just need a footer at the bottom. And the only customization of that footer is you're going to customize it for the page that you're working on. So if I have a blog post about personal branding, I'm not going to use the same words. I'm going to switch out the word SEO WordPress website design, and I'm going to put in personal brand strategies. So I would say the Athena Arena provides personal branding strategies for businesses in Aspen, Colorado, and the surrounding communities of blah, 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 blah. So it's that simple. That tip is worth its weight in gold. I highly recommend you implement it, or if you need a website designer to help you, follow those instructions and then put it on every blog post, every page, and you're going to get found a lot easier locally with that tip. So that's one of my best tips, and it's worked like a charm since 2009 for sure. Now I have a bonus tip for you, and that bonus tip is develop an automated system to gather ratings and reviews. And you may have noticed that Google gives weight to those yellow star ratings in search results. So does Amazon, for that matter. On any type of large directory site, you're going to see those 4 and 5 star ratings are going to show up at the top of searches, like inside of a directory too. Like if you go to Yelp and you search for something inside of Yelp, you're going to see those ratings and reviews, which really, TripAdvisor is another one, just remember that, which really catches people's eyes, right? It's a huge part to local search that you're going to have to pay attention to. So, and I have this on the Mind, Body, Spirit Network as well. There's a place for people to come in and rate and review your services. So here's my strategy for doing this to try to keep it simple. I want you to create a simple email template that you're going to use every time you've completed a transaction or service for one of your customers. There's a particular time frame where it's like, okay, time to ask for rating and reviews. It's complete. They've sat with it for a while. They're happy with it or whatever. And you're going to send them an email. An example of what I would recommend is you're going to provide a nice little bonus. And I like to use gift cards as bonus thank yous to my customers for taking the time to rate and review. And it's not intended for a bribe. It's intended to get genuine feedback. So the subject line in an email could be something like, can I treat you to a Starbucks gift card? I do this to great people love it. I send them a Starbucks gift card, and it doesn't have to be a lot, right? $5, $10, $20, whatever you want. It could be an Amazon gift card, depending on, what type of service you're providing. If you just sold them $10,000 worth of services, you might want to up the game a little and give them a $100 gift card, which is not to bribe them. You don't want to bribe them. You even want to say that as much in the email. You just want to acknowledge and appreciate their time and effort for creating a rating and review for you, because it helps you become better at what you do. So what I recommend is make sure you point out you're not trying to bribe them, especially if that dollar amount gets high. Like if you give them a $100 Amazon gift card for $10,000, it's like you didn't have to do that, but they're like, oh my God, thank you. But make sure you say, I want a genuine review. Don't brown nose me. Don't feel obligated to give me a good, however you want to phrase it. You don't even have to phrase it at all. I'm just talking out loud so you can think about it. So what you're going to do in the, you really want to get a rating and review on that Google business profile page, because it shows up so readily before anything else. You want to get ratings and reviews on that website. But it would be also great if you could get ratings and reviews in other directory websites like, Houzz or Angie's List or wherever you might go, the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, because it's going to still show up. Those ratings and reviews matter in those search results. So, and it sounds like a lot to ask of people to fill out ratings and reviews 3 or 4 different times, even on your own website. You could have some sort of WordPress plugin or functionality to your website that accepts ratings and reviews there too, because you want that to happen as well. So you got to make it easy for your customers to rate and review you. And what I do is I find the link. You go into your Google business profile and you're going to say, how do I send a link for people to rate and review me? And it'll help you find your link. So you're going to write in the email, here's the link to fill out the Google profile. You want them to do that one first. And then you can say, and if you don't mind, I would really appreciate if you could copy and paste that same review into maybe two other directory sites and your website. And there's no obligation to do that. Point out that Google one is really most important, and then maybe you decide how you want to prioritize it, and see what search results you're getting already. So if you're getting strong local search results in Google, then keep feeding that with ratings and reviews and sending people there. So that's huge in those local Google search results and in search results in general. Those ratings plus the stars take up more real estate in the listing, and you get more eyes on you when people see those stars. So highly recommend. That's the bonus tip. You got to do that, and most people don't do it. I'm like, that's silly. So I figured it's got to be easy for you to do. So create a template, copy and paste it into an email, send it off, put it on your checklist, ask them to let you know when they've done it, and then you send them the gift card, whatever that may be, and thank them for their service and time. Okay. So that's it for today's episode of the Athena Arena podcast. And I'm going to create a downloadable PDF that you can follow called 5 Simple and Proven Local SEO Strategies, which I didn't have time to get done at the time of this recording. So I'll get it done as soon as possible. But in the meantime, there's a link here where you can get on the list to receive that as soon as it's completed. And I'm also, while I was creating this podcast, I'm like, this really deserves a video tutorial on how to go through all this. So I'm going to create a course on this that I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to it, but if you get on that list, you'll also get on the list to be notified of when the course gets launched. So you can really fine-tune your local SEO efforts with some video training. And here's one other thought. I can help you with an intelligent, data-driven content marketing strategy. We can work one-on-one. I can help you with this as well. And there's a link below that you can click on and schedule time for a little consultation, or you can just go ahead and buy my starter kit package that is really intended to get an overall content strategy going for you and get you off to a good start. Thanks for joining me today. Next week, we're going to talk about it's mastering your inner game. And I have this great topic about self-esteem, which is super powerful and fascinating to understand the power of self-esteem and consciousness, and why seemingly corrupt, powerful individuals have so much wealth and power in this world. Really interesting to put that into understanding and understand the energy of it all and self-esteem, which is super important in having a successful business. I will see you then.